Okay, welcome to another amazing UnBinged success story. We're here with Amanda. She's got an amazing transformation to share of really kind of a story that shows what is possible. We really can go from that place where we're struggling with binge eating and we feel like there's no way out. You may feel like that now watching this, and her story really shows. She's one of many stories that shows it is possible. You can find balance and you can find freedom. So Amanda, I really appreciate you being here, taking the time out of your day to do this today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just really glad to be able to be here and share what is possible with this program and the success that I've had. So,
Yeah, it's an amazing story. So let's get into it. Why don't you tell me a bit about kind of where you were, your struggles with food, and maybe how it started or how it progressed for you?
so this is something I've really kind of struggled with for as long as I can remember. It's not something that ever really had a starting point per se. But really, I mean, I've always kind of struggled with eating and always really enjoyed snacking. Growing up, in my household, we weren't restricted from snacks. We never didn't have soda in the house or didn't have chips. We were always pretty much able to have that kind of stuff on a daily basis, and we pretty much did. I know my dad had always struggled with eating and snacking, and to the point that he would literally eat in his sleep. So there were times that we would have to lock the snack food up from him. We actually had a cubby that we would lock, and everybody knew the code to that except for my dad, because he would go and eat all of the snacks in the house. So it's kind of something I grew up seeing, even though I knew it was not good. It wasn't good for his health, and even morally, it was something that was kind of frowned upon. But having to share snacks with someone in the house, I kind of now have discovered that it made me anxious that I wouldn't be able to have those snacks at a later time when I wanted them. So then once I grew up and I had my own money and I was able to buy my own snacks, I would do that. And I just found myself eating all of it at once. So I would hide up in my room and be reading a book and eat an entire bag of chips. And so that kind of started once I had my own money, really, because it was kind of monitored, I guess, growing up. We always had to put chips in a bowl and soda in a cup, and we weren't able to just sit down with the bag of snacks. So when I was able to do that with myself, by myself, I kind of, I guess, started going overboard. So that's kind of when things started progressing worse. And a normal snack for me at night was an entire bag of chips. And those chips were kind of my kryptonite. So I would just sit there and I would eat a whole bag of chips a few times a week. And that didn't really affect my weight because I was very active in high school. I played sports pretty much fall and spring. I liked to be outdoors. I liked to just be active in general. And I mean, electronics weren't as big back then as they are now. So it was not a really big deal. When I went to college, that's when I wasn't playing the sports all the time. I wasn't being as active as I was. So I started to gain weight then too. And it just kind of, I mean, I never really had a great body image, but it definitely got worse at that point. So that kind of continued, and I'd always felt shame around it, kind of without realizing that I felt shame around it. But when I had roommates in college, I wouldn't sit there and eat a whole bag of chips when they were there. I would do that when they weren't there. or if I went over to like sleepovers with my friends in high school, I wouldn't eat the whole bag of chips because I'm obviously sharing with them. I would like restrain myself from doing that, but it was like I had to physically and mentally restrain myself from doing that. So it was just a really like difficult to get through that. And as I continued to gain weight, I tried a whole bunch of different things. And like I had actually lost about 30 pounds before my wedding. And then I gained 60 pounds after my honeymoon because I restricted so much before that, that once we went on our honeymoon, I just kind of went crazy because I was making up for lost time, I guess. So it's something I've always had a lot of like pain and shame with because it's physically uncomfortable. Like nobody feels good after they eat a whole bag of chips. But also like nobody feels good about somebody watching them eat a whole bag of chips either. So there was like the emotional and the physical, and then you see yourself gain weight, and it's just really hard and it hurts a lot emotionally. It can hurt physically too. So it's been really hard. And I kind of eventually like just tried so many different things, and I just got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. Like I was physically feeling pain, like I would get stomach cramps, and I was getting acid reflux really bad because of the way that I was like eating. And it was just, I hit rock bottom and I just couldn't do it anymore. The biggest moment when I realized, holy crap, I have a problem, is when it was Halloween and I was watching movies at home, and I ate like 12 Reese's cups and a whole bag of Doritos, and I felt like complete crap. And I went to my doctor and I talked to her and I was like, I've got this going on. And I don't think it's right. And so at that point, I realized I had a problem and I started seeking help. And it was probably a year or two later that I found you.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, you have it's a long history, and you have a lot of awareness on kind of the progression, which, yeah, when something is like a growing pain point, you talked about mental, physical, emotional, real pain with this problem. It tends to be when I ask people, what's the history? They can tell it pretty quick off the top of the head because it's such a dominant thing.
Yeah.
As you got to those last couple of years, like how bad did things get? Like as you started looking for help, and maybe right up until you chose to sign up, how bad were things, and kind of what was the hardest part about that stage for you?
So the hardest part was just, there were so many different options out there, but none of them were truly helping. It was just feeling like there was no way out. Feeling like I would always suffer with this, that I would always, like, there was a time when I went to the doctors and my mom went with me, and I just sat outside and cried and was like literally verbally abusing myself. Like I was just sitting out there saying super mad things, like super mean things about myself. And like there was just a lot of pain there because I didn't like myself. I didn't like how I was eating. I didn't like that I was treating myself the way that I was, but it felt like there was no way out.
Yeah, the hopelessness can be really intense, and when we start to really like turn on ourselves, verbally abuse ourselves, it starts to get kind of dangerous. Like you describing that day at the doctor, that's a really urgent situation, eh?
Yeah. And as crazy as it is, that was still a couple of years before I even started doing anything about it.
Yeah, often we need a few kind of knocks on the door, or a few of those situations, because the hopelessness is very real. We can have all the urgency and the pain, but if we don't see a way out, and we don't, I remember being certain that there was no way out of always going back to high volumes of highly processed foods to cope, right? Like
Mhm.
certain there was no way out. So when you have that level of hopelessness, it can be hard to find it. And I guess, as you said you said a couple times, I tried other things. Can you tell me a bit about other things that you did try?
Yeah. So um, I remember like dieting, I guess, as early as high school. Um, Even though like I look back to high school, I had a great figure in high school. I was very athletic. I was like not a overweight person at all. But I didn't like the way that I looked because it's high school. Unfortunately, we're so inundated with models and super unrealistically skinny and perfect people, that I feel like most girls don't like the way that they look in high school. Um, so I remember being in high school and my Fitness Pal had come out and I started using that, and I was tracking my calories, and I was trying to stick to 1,200 calories a day, which as an athletic high schooler, that is not nearly enough. So I remember like trying to do that, but it didn't work. Like I didn't stick to it because it's not sustainable. And I tried that a few different times with different numbers of calories and whatever. And so I would try to track and try to eat under a certain amount of calories. I would try to limit myself from snack foods. I call them snack foods now because I refuse to call them junk foods because I don't think that they have a moral value. You can't say junk food. It's not junk food. It's just a snack. Um, so I would try to keep myself away from snack foods. I would try no sugar. I would try low carbs. I would try all of these different things. And then sometime in college, I had found out about Beachbody, and a couple of people that I knew from high school were Beachbody coaches, and I felt comfortable going to them, and I got involved with Beachbody, which on the surface seems like a really great thing. Like they constantly talk about lifestyle changes, and it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change, and super easy and convenient. You just have to put your food in these little containers, and um, as long as it fits in the container, it fits in your lifestyle, and like all of this kind of stuff. And then they had these exercise programs that you would do, and you would do certain diet suggestions with certain programs. And on the surface, it was really great. I lost weight every time I did it. I ate well every time I did it. There was the first time that I did it, I legitimately think that I detoxed from processed food, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like I was really mean for a few days. um, so like, I mean, detoxing from processed food isn't bad, but just the fact that I felt like I had to do that in order to successfully be where I wanted to be. Um, so it was all very restrictive for me. And I think maybe that it could work for some people, but for me, it was too much. It was too restrictive. And I will say the only good thing that did come out of that is that I learned how to properly exercise and properly lift weights. And I fell in love with weightlifting. It's something I really enjoyed doing. So that was a positive that came out of it. But as far as the whole lifestyle diet portion of that, it was just too restrictive. And truthfully, I didn't feel like I was eating enough. I didn't feel like I was adequate because I wasn't meeting the restrictions that I was supposed to have. So while it was trying to build you up, it kept pushing me down because I couldn't stick to the portions and the containers that they were giving me, or like I couldn't even meet the vegetables that I was supposed to have. I was supposed to have like 4.5 cups of vegetables a day, and like that's a lot. I didn't want to have carrots with my breakfast. So it was just unrealistic for me. And they advertise such positivity, but beneath it all is so much negativity.
Yeah. So you tell, unfortunately, a not uncommon story there. When I ask people, what have you tried? It's a lot of that. It's a lot of restriction. It's a lot of elimination of sugar or carbohydrates or food groups or types of food, a lot of moralization of food, a lot of trying diets, even diets that say they're not diets.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of people still trying those things, these diets and these lifestyle changes that are restrictive. I want to hear what you feel like was different about this.
So there was a lot that was different about this. This sounds really cliche, but it's truly a lifestyle change. It's not a diet hidden in the idea of a lifestyle change. This program is gentle. It wasn't all or nothing. There wasn't black and white. It was just, you meet yourself where you're at, and then you just take little steps to improve. It's about like truly understanding yourself, self-acceptance, moving on instead of I want to get skinny. And it's about your overall health and well-being, mentally, physically, emotionally, rather than just, oh, can I lose 25 pounds? And so, I mean, it's truly completely different. Like there's really no comparing it, because it's not, hey, do this and then this will happen. It's, hey, where are you at? Let's meet you there. And then how can we get you to take small steps forward?
Yeah, I think you put that really beautifully. That gave me goosebumps. It's really it's gentle. I really try to make it a human approach. Like you said, where are you and how can we take small steps and gently create a new life? And I think it's the only thing that does work for human beings. Like if we were robots, we could eat our food on little boxes and we could have metric goals and this like perfect, process or journey towards our target. But we're human beings. We have to welcome like all parts of ourselves and be gentle and grow along the way. So I really like how you put that. Was there any specific components or techniques that you felt really contributed to making this sustainable for you, your breakthrough?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've posted this numerous comments in our group and whatever, but it's like self-awareness, self-reflection, that was really the biggest part that changed everything for me. I mean, sorry, I wrote down notes so I didn't totally lose track. But it's like, it's more, I got more out of this than I got out of therapy. I was in therapy for this, and I got more out of this than I did in therapy. So it's like, just the self-reflection and self-awareness was what really did it for me, to really sit down and say, okay, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? I want to sit down and eat snacks. Am I actually hungry, or is there something more to it? Or is this just an automatic thing that I'm doing because I come home from work, I sit down on the couch and I grab a snack? So it was like, that approach was what really kind of just clicked with me and changed things for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you have said that a few times, and I love it. I love that, like, the ability to do that, that is completely different. Like, if you're at an intersection of a food decision, we can reference like the instructions of Beachbody, or we can connect with our internal wisdom. That's the difference between adhering to a set of rules and creating behavior change. And it's very insightful that you can see that that happens by creating that self-awareness, creating that pause. It's awesome. That is probably the most valuable thing that people walk away with, having their own compass instead of like a map from a diet company, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be where I am and have the success that I'm having had I not learned how to meet myself where I was, which was someone who was hurt and broken and didn't know why I was doing the things that I was doing. And then being able to look into that and explore that, reflect on that, and then find the appropriate solutions to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's awesome. And your change, it's so clear every time I talk to you that like this person has changed the trajectory of their life. They're not holding on by their fingertips. It's you change the way you process your food decisions, which is brilliant. Brilliant. So you talked about how things were before, like the snacking and kind of mindless eating, finishing a bag of chips, and feeling really hopeless with it, feeling physically uncomfortable, having emotional like frustration around it, self-loathing. How are things different for you now?
So, I mean, things have basically done a complete 180. I don't really have those experiences anymore. That's not to say that it's perfect, because they're like, I know I've commented this in our group too, but I suffer from ADHD and I tend to zone out a lot. So I'll zone out when I'm eating and when I'm snacking, and it's just probably just because it's a comforting feeling to be able to sit there and snack on my snack foods. But it's not, so it's not perfect, because I'll still do that, but I'm able to pause sometimes now and be like, okay, wait, we're doing it. This is happening right now. Do we still need to do this, or can you stop? So like, I'm able to, that pause, it's literally crucial to change everything. I'm able to see it now. I'm able to stop it, because I don't have to sit there and eat the whole bag and completely lose awareness of what I'm doing. So there's that. And then it's just like, I don't hate myself anymore. Like, even though I'm maybe not exactly where I want to be, I don't hate my body. I don't hate my brain anymore. Like, I can eat food and not feel guilty about it or shame around it. even if I eat too much, like I probably eat too much food daily, but I don't sit there and dwell on it and hate myself for it anymore. I'm like, okay, that happened. Maybe I'll try to not do that next time. And I just move on. And it's completely amazing the fact that I'm able to do that, and the fact that I don't hate my body anymore, and the fact that I just feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders and I feel free, that I don't know, I just don't feel like I'm held down by food anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that change in you as well. Not feeling held down by food anymore. That's really powerful. What would you say is like the best part of that for you?
I'm just happier. I'm happier. I just don't, there's no, very minimal frustration about food now. And it, it's so much easier to go through life like that than to constantly analyze every single thing that you eat and beat yourself up for things that you shouldn't have eaten, because eat whatever the hell you want. Don't feel bad about it. Like it's just nice to not feel that.
It is. It is. It's a relief. Like I love that answer. I'm just happier. We all really deserve that. And I remember in the past hearing that, like, follow your gut, follow your intuition, and eat what you want, satisfy your cravings, have balance, be flexible, and thinking it wasn't possible, and thinking that it would lead to a huge weight gain. And actually, for me, it did lead. I don't like to focus on weight, but it did eventually lead to balance
Mhm.
and weight loss. And you're having some of that as well, hey?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely finding that balance. Like I can, I wouldn't have been able to experience this before, because I've been told, like, just eat intuitively, whatever you want, eat that. And I remember thinking it was a bunch of bull crap. Because okay, what I want is a bag of Doritos every single day. And I did try that and it didn't work, and I never stopped wanting that. Um, but if I didn't take the time to do all of the internal work and learn how to take that pause, I wouldn't be able to eat the way that I am now. Which, if I want to eat something, I can sit there and say, okay, why do I want to eat this? Do I want to eat this because I'm actually really craving this thing? Or do I want to eat this because I'm bored? And then once I figure that out, if I really want to eat the thing, I eat the thing and I don't feel bad about it. And um, sorry, I went on a tangent and I forgot where I was going. But it's just like that's that's how I eat now, is if like my body will naturally crave fruit when my body needs fruit. I'll naturally crave steak when I need protein, vegetables, like, and I kind of am able to actually like tune in and listen to what my body wants now, rather than it just being Doritos all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Like to just have full permission when you're in a place of, like, we can't listen to our body if we can't hear our body. If we're
Mhm.
just caught in like craving and fear and overindulgence, it is not possible. But all people need to develop is that compass, that inner wisdom, and that ability to hear their body. And then we still have to have some restraint. Like, I still don't follow every craving, and I know you don't either, but you have that pause. And in that pause, you make the decision that feels balanced for you. And for me as well, often it is cake and ice cream. And often it's like, no, that's not the call right now. Looking at the big picture, how I want to feel in an hour, and I have dinner coming, just considering all the human elements of my life that are at play. So that's, I think that's why you keep coming back to that as the main thing, because it's the most important thing. It's what allows us to have dialogue with our body. the ability to hear it, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you just are able to hone in on what you need instead of all of that bull crap outside noise that's like, you need to be perfect. You can't eat that. That's bad for you. Or um your cravings are like Doritos, Doritos, Doritos. And it's like, just shut up for a second. And then finally, when you're able to like get all of that to stop, you can actually hear what your body wants and needs.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It's the most important thing. So the last question I have for you is just, there are a lot of people who are, especially like, we're recording this first week of January. Unfortunately, I call this Shark Week for diet companies. They smell the blood in the water. They know people are kind of in self-loathing after the holidays. And a lot of people are going to get pulled into that. Another crazy diet, cutting out of food group, cutting out of food, eliminating sugar, all these things that don't work for 99.9% of people in my experience. And when they're considering that, the thing about that, the appeal of those things is they're marketed by really, really good copywriters who can leverage your fear, and they're very black and white. They're rooted in metrics, which is the thing that kind of makes them not work, but it's also the thing that makes them marketable. They're exact. And some people would be looking at an option like that, and then looking at this and seeing that it's kind of more nuanced. And I guess I would just be curious, what would you say to someone who's considering this, or maybe considering taking another shot at one of those programs?
So I would say, and like, I'm trying to put myself in that position too, because those types of things are very tempting because they make promises and they just make it look so easy. It's like, you do this, then you get this result. And it's like, life's not like that. That's not a thing. You might get results for a short period of time, but as soon as you stop doing that thing, your results go away. And I know that because I've been there and I've done that and experienced that. And I have not found a thing other than this that does that. But this doesn't have set rules, and that might be hard for some people. But this is the thing that works. Like, yes, it's more difficult because you have to dig into yourself. You have to touch emotions that are hard to deal with and you might not want to delve into. But if you want to truly fix the problem, you have to. If you want to truly be able to eat with freedom, which is what I wanted, I didn't want to have to never have Doritos again. The thought of never having Doritos again gave me so much anxiety. I love Doritos. It's a problem. I love them so much, but I still have Doritos now. I can eat whatever I want. And that's the good thing, is that I'm still making progress, but I'm not hurting myself with Doritos anymore. I can have them and enjoy them. And they are what they are. They're not my pain anymore. And that's what this does. So maybe taking the little bit more difficult route is, and the maybe slower route to get your weight loss results, is the one that's going to really change your life and not just give you temporary weight loss, but freedom and happiness.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. It's like you can change the scale for 6 weeks, or you can change your life forever in maybe double that time, right?
Exactly. It's a little bit of a longer road, and it's a little bit more mental and emotional work, but it's really worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're living proof it's worth it. I'm so glad that we connected, and you're not knocking, vulnerable to that again, first week of January. I'm super grateful for you. And your journey, and you're showing up all the time, and your positive outlook and your gratitude for the process really inspires me and warms my heart. So I just want you to know I'm really grateful for connecting with you.
Me too. It's changed my life. And I've made some really great friends from all over the world. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. We have an amazing community as well, which support from other people who understand where you're coming from is really important. You've taken full advantage of that. So yeah, it has to be an enjoyable, growth-oriented, beautiful journey. Otherwise, like, we can only hold our breath for so long, but we can meet people, be imperfect, grow and learn forever. That's what we've evolved to do, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be learning about myself and moving through this process forever. And I'm really excited for that, because it's an opportunity to learn and keep getting better.
Exactly. Me too. And I teach it. And I always say, I don't aim to get it right. And I don't teach people to get it right. I commit to imperfect growth. And like, it's become the best growth opportunity of my life. It's introduced me to new foods, new friends, new tools for my emotions. Like, it's either, I say this a lot too, it's either your worst enemy or a brilliant teacher. And that's kind of like, okay, I can do this forever. I want to be 80 years old and not dwelling on my physique, but be like, hey, I wonder if I work on this part of myself, I could climb that hill next month. And just always be like, I'm still growing in this area. I'm so glad that I turned this problem into an opportunity. That's what we try to do, really, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the thing too, like, about this is, yes, it's about food and binge eating, but this affects every aspect of your life. Like that whole pause thing can be used for anything. Like, it's not just food. Like, this is, yes, a binge eating program, but it's a life program too.
You're right. There is a core component of it that is kind of life coaching, personal development, just aimed at your eating, but it affects, if you're working on your mindfulness, your self-awareness, your ability to pause in your eating, that's one of the most challenging areas to do that. It becomes easier to do that in traffic or in an argument or at work. And yeah, you end up, it's grown me more as a person than anything else, truly,
Me too.
in my life. Yeah.
I've grown more in the last, I don't know, 6 months than I have since high school. I mean, I've become just a better person, a happier, more patient, more confident person. So yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And now you're a light for other people. There's so many negative influences in the world of like food and body image that now we kind of turn ourselves on as lights, like you're doing now, but also in your household, affecting people you care about gently in sustainable ways. It's one of the best parts, is then you get it and you get to share it. So great. I really appreciate this again. Is there anything else you want to say or share before we finish?
I don't think so. I think I pretty much was able to get out everything that I wanted. I've just appreciate being able to work with you so much and be able to create like a little family in our group. And it's been really, really great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We will talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, see you, Amanda.
All right, thanks. Bye.